again and welcome to New York Talk. This is the Scan Report when we stop talking about Rotherham for a little bit and we look ahead. We're looking ahead this time to Wycombe Wanderers, our second away game of the season, hoping for a different result this time. We have Phil from the Ringing the Blues podcast. How are you doing, Phil?
I'm very good, Matt. Looking forward to Saturday, yeah.
Yes, very much so. If I can, I'll go back a few years since we played each other. Last time we played, Gareth Ainsworth was still there. Talk to me about kind of the post-Gareth Ainsworth era, because when you see kind of big managers leave clubs who have a set way of playing, like Ainsworth does, you can often see potential issues and slumps, but you seem to have kept steady. There's been no real drop-off from the outside. How has it been post-Ainsworth?
Well, huge change because Gaz was with us for 11 years, which in the Football League especially, it's almost unheard of. It's very, very few examples like that. And he was so successful with us as well, against all the odds. So whoever came next, it was always going to be very, very difficult. And in Matt Bloomfield, it was really, the only choice who really would have had any chance to do so, because he's been at Wycombe even longer than Gareth Ainsworth as a player, 17, 18 seasons, and he had a year as a coach. We then let him go to Colchester for 4 months to kind of learn as quickly as he could about management. And I think the plan was he would always come back. I just don't think we realised just how quickly that would be. So for the fans' point of view, it was excellent because in Matt Bloomfield, he's his own man. But in terms of all the Wycombe things that fans have come to expect in terms of the team unity, the vibe, knowing Wycombe as it is, which is a very unique club, he's kind of continued all of that, but at the same time has evolved how we play and changed a lot of things that you'll see on the pitch. So, which is no easy task at all. And he's just completed last season, was his first full season in management. He's learnt a lot, and the fans, as you get with club legends, they give him time. I mean, not everybody did, because there was a spell midway through last season, just before Christmas, where we had a terrible run. And as football fans are, there was a section of fans who were jumping on board and getting pressure. But the majority of fans were thinking, look, this is a guy that we love and we want to give him time. Gareth Ainsworth, it's been quoted by the former owners, which were the Supporters Trust. If they had the money, they would have fired him after his first season. And thank God they didn't, because we'd have missed out on a hell of a ride. So it's been some things are the same and lots of things aren't. But Matt Bloomfield is a club legend and has the full support of everybody at the club. It's wonderful.
Yes, I think you see, when a legend leave, if you bring another legend, it makes it easy, doesn't it?
Yes.
There's not less disruption. Talk to me about we'll come back to Matt Bloomfield in a minute, but talk to me about your summer. I've just checked transfer market. It seems a pretty quiet summer, which can mean really good things, that you were settled and solid and that everything's great, or things have not gone so well. How would you sum up the summer window so far? It's not closed yet, so far.
It's been good. We finished, I mentioned that sort of rough spell we had just before Christmas, but the second half of last season, our old chairman put some money into the transfer kitty in the January, and we added a few faces then, and we finished the season really strongly. In fact, across the second half of the season, excuse me, we were top 6 over that period of games, which got us up to 10th in the table for a finishing position. So we had good momentum. We had the foundations of a very good squad. Chris Farino left to join Bolton Wanderers. He was out of contract. We've signed Alex Hartridge from Exeter, which was really early. I mean, we were sort of pinching ourselves at the club when we got the news through that we were making a signing, because normally Wycombe we wait until a bit further down into the window, normally near the end of it. And so we got our business done fairly quickly. And we've added sort of in areas that you'd expect us to add. Joe Jacobson has left the club, another club legend after 10 years. So we've got Dan Harvey in from MK Dons, who's a left-sided player, left back, left centre-back of a 3, or a left wing-back. And we get Alex Hartridge, I mentioned, Tyreek Backinson, Dan Udo, which is an excellent signing in League One as well. So we've got the business done earlier than normal. I think we are looking to the loan market as well, but like a lot of clubs with the Euros and stuff, the Premier League seem to be delaying, or not delaying, but holding on to their younger players a bit more while they go and do their money-making tours of wherever and take the younger players with them. So I think we will see some more faces before the end of the month, but we'll have to wait and see. But what we've done so far, we're very happy with, I think, and the fans seem to be on board with that too.
Let's talk about expectations for the season. We've both been in League One quite a lot of years, but for me, this seems so competitive. There's so many good teams in this league this year. For when we get relegated, we know what we're expected to do. Bear in mind the end to the season that you had last year, which was a really good end. What is your expectation or hope for this season ahead?
Well, as a football fan, with your fan hat on, you kind of sat here thinking, well, this is the time of year to be hopeful and shoot for the stars and go, yeah, top 6. But then our first game of the season was Wrexham away, and then our second league game was Birmingham at home. I think if you add their playing budgets together, it's some sort of getting near £50 million. And you kind of pinch yourself and think, have we got back in the Championship without me noticing? But that's insane money for League One. And yeah, it's a really, really competitive league this season. And the teams coming up as well, Stockport as well, and Crawley have started well too. So yeah, and we've changed ownership. We've changed training ground in the summer too. So there's lots of sort of off the pitch stuff that's changing as well. Our ownership group have stated that this is a long-term project. It's not something where money will be thrown into the playing squad and instantaneous results are expected. It's a long development, and we're starting an academy again, which is all very exciting for the fans to hear. But then you don't see those results on the pitch, so to speak. So I think the club sort of balance is looking at it sort of mid-table maybe, and I think the fans, I think they would like to see us in the top 10. We finished 10th last year. I think the aim is always to finish above where your budget is. I think last year our budget was mid-table. We finished 10th, so that was good. I think our budget's probably even lower down this season. So if we were to finish in the top 10 again, I think that would be excellent. And the thing with the top 10 is if you're there sort of in March, April, and you can put a run together, then, you can sometimes claw yourself into that top 6. We've done it before. But yeah, I'd say that mid-table bracket, with the optimistic part of me thinking, yeah, we'll get 6th place.
You mentioned the ownership. I noticed, you're quite far away from us, so I always see these things in passing. But talk about the ownership change. Your owner's gone to Reading now, and you sold to somebody else. It all seemed to happen quite quickly.
Yeah. It's we were again very steady, owned by the fans for best part of 10 years. And although we didn't have any money during that period, it was you knew what you had, and it was very much a club pulling together. And then the Kuhigs came in just when the money had really run out, and they really settled things down and didn't throw huge amounts of money into it, but were incredibly successful and left the club in a much better place than when they found it. But then Rob is an American businessman, and lo and behold, he turns up down the road at Reading. I don't think it's been announced yet. I think by the time this goes out, it probably will be. But he was there on Saturday, waving at the fans and such. He's a very shy man, obviously. Doesn't do a lot of press. So that was big news. And then Rob sold to our current owner, who's Mihail Lontabs. He's a Georgian guy, he's a businessman from Kazakhstan as well. His business is based in Kazakhstan. And he's brought in Dan Rice, who's our interim chairman. He's come with a huge sort of academy background in the Premier League, Everton, Southampton, Fulham, and then with the long-term strategy of building a Category 1 academy for the club, which for a club of our history, we didn't turn pro until 92, 93. We did have an academy. We couldn't afford it. We closed it down. Here we are just over 10 years later, starting with it again. New training ground next door to Heathrow in West London. Lots of work going on there, lots of investment. So yeah, it's been a very, very busy summer with lots of things happening. And I started going to see Wycombe Wanderers play when they were in the Isthmian League, and playing teams like Walthamstow Avenue and Hendon and people like that. They were our regular games, like Enfield. And now we're sort of we just played Birmingham City at home, and it's we've been in the Championship. So yeah, I think the thing we've learned the most the last 5 years is that football is this incredible roller coaster ride, and you just hold on and see where it takes you.
Absolutely. On back onto the football, you 2 games this season, as you mentioned. On the outside, that's a tough start. It's almost as tough as you can get. Those 2 games. It seems entertaining goal-wise. Are they fair losses? Are they very, very close games? Just talking about the first 2 games and I've fared in them so far.
The Wrexham game was really frustrating. I mean, the luck of the draw. You don't want to play a team off the back of 2 consecutive promotions in front of a sold-out, crowd with their superstar American owners all there too. The vibe was fantastic. The fans were absolutely going for it. The momentum was there for all to see. But we were unlucky to lose, really. I'll say unlucky. We gave them 2 goals out of the 3. Sloppy sort of classic opening day mistakes. And, I think that was a tough one to take because we did enough in the game to get something out of it in what was a really tricky fixture. But we only had ourselves to blame, I think, in terms of the result. But Birmingham, I think they had something like 78 possession by the end of the game. We often do better when we have less possession, but that stat was quite. That was like almost back to our championship days, and you could see. I know the football's not played on a balance sheet, but you could see the level of expenditure Birmingham were putting into play and the real quality they had, especially off the bench. But again, 3-2. We gave them there was a few defensive question marks over the first goal, especially. And I think it's tough, isn't it? If you give a goal away against a team like that, it's always going to be hard. But we scored twice. We look good going forwards. We're playing. I think we'll play a lot more football than you guys are perhaps used to associating us with us. And we're playing some good stuff going forward. I think if we can sort of tighten things up a bit, this is the obvious things that all fans will say. If we can tighten things up at the back and without, putting the foot off the accelerator up top, then it looks to be very, very exciting. But these are big asks, aren't they? These are things, that maybe take a few games to sort out. But it's not doom and gloom here. I mean, fans obviously look at the table and see no points after 2 games. But as you alluded to, when the fixture list came out, we were like, blimey, these 3 opening league games are pretty intense. And Rotherham now, off the back of it, you guys have, scored no goals but got 1 point. We all imagined you'd be coming into town with 6 points.
Yeah, well, we hope so as well. Let's talk about your style a little bit because, like I said, when we all know what Gareth Ainsworth's style was, we were very used to it. We played each other a lot over the Gareth Ainsworth time. Was it like a full scale change in football? Has it been a gradual change? And is it different? Is it completely different? Where does the style compare?
It's not completely different, but then I think a lot of football fans get very blinkered when they came to Wycombe because they would sort of throw the it's all long ball or it's time wasting, it's all these other things, and every team has that element to the game, especially in League One. If you don't, then you just don't survive. So we've retained those bits and we use them when we need them. We're not using them all the time, but they're still there if we need them. But we are playing a much more expansive style. We had, our goalkeeper will sometimes take a goal kick that doesn't leave the penalty area, which we were the last team in the top 4 divisions under Gareth Ainsworth to do that by 2.5 years. Believe it or not. So when that started to happen, that was quite a culture shock. But yeah, so we are playing the ball out from the back more. It's a much more expansive style of football. But we do know where the goal is and we do know the route to goal where required. And I dare say, like every other team in League One, if we're 1-0 up in injury time, then we may take a little time to take a throw in.
Yeah. We can have that. I'll have that. That's fine. Let's finish on a score prediction if you can, Phil. What do you see? Is it first win for you? First win for us? Draw, probably?
Well, I'm an optimist, so I have to say we're going to win. So I would say we're going to win, but I also know, Steve Evans, as much as we all love to hate him as football fans, he's the ultimate panto villain. I think characters like him are really important for the game. But what he does bring is an insanely competitive team, whatever conditions. So we know it won't be easy. So I don't think there'll be much in it. So I'm going to go for a sneaky Wycombe 2, Rotherham 1.
Fair enough. I hope you're wrong. But there we go. Thank you very much. We'll put the links to Ringing the Blues in the show notes as well. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and like the video as well. And good luck for the season, Phil. Obviously not Saturday in the reverse fixture. But good luck. And thank you very much, mate.
Likewise. Thank you very much for having me.
Cheers. Up the mill.